Overcoming procrastination. Practical tips for getting things done. Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk, staring at a big project that's due tomorrow. You know it's important, and you also know that putting it off will only make things worse. But instead of diving into it, you find yourself scrolling through Instagram, watching a YouTube video, or even rearranging your bookshelf. Sound familiar? Procrastination. It's something everyone has experienced, that nagging feeling of knowing you need to do something but putting it off, sometimes until the last possible minute. But here's the thing. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's something that can really impact your life in ways you might not even realize. It affects your productivity, your personal goals, and even your mental health. And the worst part, it's often fueled by emotions, fear, anxiety, and the need for instant gratification. Statistics to hook the audience. Let's take a moment to look at some numbers that might surprise you. According to a study from the University of Vermont, about 20% of people consider themselves chronic procrastinators, and this behavior can lead to anxiety, stress, and even depression. When left unchecked, procrastination can seriously affect your ability to achieve long-term goals, whether it's in your career, education, or personal development. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself avoiding an important task, only to regret it later when the deadline is just around the corner? Or maybe you've started something, but then got distracted and never followed through. It's frustrating, right? In this video, we'll dive into the psychology behind procrastination, why it happens, and most importantly, practical tips to help you stop procrastinating and get things done effectively. Why do we procrastinate? We all know the feeling of procrastination, but understanding why we procrastinate is key to solving the problem. Here's a breakdown of the most common causes. 1. Fear of failure. Perfectionism. One of the biggest reasons we procrastinate is the fear of failure. When the task ahead seems daunting or important, we often delay starting because we worry about not doing it perfectly. This fear of not being good enough holds us back. Imagine you're assigned a project at work or school. Instead of getting started, you spend hours planning it in your head, thinking about all the ways it could go wrong. You might even find yourself doing anything other than the task, checking social media, organizing your email inbox, or making coffee for the 4th time in the morning. This is a classic example of perfectionism. When we fear failure, we try to avoid the task altogether, rather than risk failing at it. Example: think about a writer who has a book idea but keeps delaying writing the first chapter. They worry it won't be as good as they imagined, so they keep editing in their head without ever putting pen to paper. Solution: the key here is to embrace imperfection. You don't have to do everything perfectly. In fact, sometimes it's better to just start and get it done, knowing that you can always make improvements later. 2. Lack of motivation, interest. We also procrastinate when a task just doesn't excite us. The classic example here is trying to study for a subject you're not passionate about. You might delay starting, because the task feels boring or unimportant. It's easy to put off a task when there's no immediate gratification. Example: imagine a student who needs to write a research paper on a topic that doesn't interest them. Instead of researching and writing, they find themselves watching random videos or playing games online. Solution: if a task doesn't excite you, find a way to make it interesting. Maybe you can relate it to something you enjoy. In the case of the student, perhaps relating the topic to a real-world problem or something they're passionate about could spark interest. Alternatively, setting small, attainable rewards after each task can help you get through it. 3. Overwhelm and anxiety. Have you ever faced a large task that felt so overwhelming that you didn't even know where to start? The thought of everything that needs to be done can paralyze you, leading you to avoid the task altogether. Procrastination often occurs when the task feels too big or too complex. Example: think about a person who needs to clean out their entire garage. Instead of breaking the task into smaller chunks, they look at the whole mess and feel overwhelmed, so they do nothing instead. Solution: the answer is breaking the task into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of focusing on the task as a whole, break it down into chunks that can be easily completed in short periods of time. Tackling a few small tasks will make the entire project feel more achievable. 4. Instant gratification distractions. We live in a world that is constantly offering us distractions. Social media, videos, text messages, and notifications constantly pull our attention away from the task at hand. When faced with something challenging or boring, it's easy to turn to the immediate rewards that give us instant pleasure, like scrolling through Instagram or watching TikTok videos. Example: you've got a big task at hand, like writing an important report. But instead of focusing, you open your phone, and the next thing you know, you've spent an hour watching funny videos. The task is still there, and you've done nothing to get closer to finishing it. Solution: combat this urge by turning off notifications and setting clear boundaries for your work time. You could also use apps like Forest or Focus at will to help you stay on track and stay away from distractions. 5. Lack of time management skills. Poor time management is another major reason for procrastination. When we don't schedule our tasks properly or create a plan of action, it's easy to let time slip away. Without structure, tasks become disorganized, and we feel like there's too much to do with too little time. Example: imagine you have a project that's due in a week, but you haven't planned out your time. Each day, you think you have plenty of time to get started, but before you know it, the deadline is here, and you're scrambling to finish. Solution: use tools like calendars, to-do lists, and time-blocking techniques to stay organized. Set specific deadlines for each part of the task so that you stay on track and avoid leaving everything until the last minute. 6. Avoiding discomfort. Sometimes procrastination happens because we simply want to avoid the discomfort that comes with certain tasks. This discomfort could come from the fear of failing, the mental energy required, or just the anxiety of starting. Example: think about a person who needs to have a difficult conversation with their boss. They procrastinate because they don't want to feel uncomfortable or have an awkward conversation, even though it's necessary. Solution: acknowledge that discomfort is temporary and part of the process. Starting is often the hardest part, but once you get going, the task becomes easier. The 5-minute rule can work wonders. Commit to doing something for just 5 minutes to get the ball rolling. Mindset shifts to overcome procrastination. Once we understand why we procrastinate, we can start to make meaningful changes in our mindset to overcome it. Let's explore some essential shifts that can help you stop procrastinating for good. Shift from "I have to" "I get to." One of the most powerful mindset shifts is changing your language. Instead of saying, "I have to do this," try saying, "I get to do this." This simple shift can change your perspective entirely. For example, instead of seeing your project as a burden, view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Reframing your tasks this way makes them feel more rewarding and less like chores. 2. Embrace imperfection and take action. Perfectionism can paralyze you. If you're constantly waiting for the right moment or trying to make everything flawless, you'll find it difficult to ever finish anything. Instead, focus on progress, not perfection. Remember, done is better than perfect. Getting started, even if your work isn't perfect, is better than doing nothing. Practical tips for getting things done. 1. Break tasks into smaller steps. One of the most effective ways to overcome procrastination is to break tasks down into smaller, manageable steps. When a task feels too big or overwhelming, it can lead to avoidance. But when you break it down, it becomes more approachable and less intimidating. Example: imagine you have to write a 10-page research paper. Instead of thinking, "I need to write 10 pages today," break it into smaller chunks like research, 1 hour of gathering sources, outline, 30 minutes of creating an outline, writing, 1 hour to write 2 pages. By splitting the task into smaller, bite-sized pieces, you're more likely to feel motivated to start because each individual task seems much more achievable. Focus on completing just one step at a time. If you finish the first part and feel good, you'll be motivated to tackle the next part. Why it works. Breaking tasks down lowers anxiety and makes progress feel more attainable. It also helps you to build momentum, making it easier to keep going. 2. Use time management techniques. Pomodoro technique. Time management is one of the biggest weapons you can have against procrastination. The Pomodoro technique is a simple yet powerful time management method that encourages focused work sessions followed by short breaks. Here's how it works. Choose a task you want to work on. Set a timer for 25 minutes, a Pomodoro. Work on the task until the timer goes off. Take a 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break, 15, 30 minutes. Example: let's say you're writing a report. You start with a Pomodoro session. After 25 minutes of focused writing, you take a 5-minute break, stretching, grabbing a drink, or checking your phone. Then, you're back to writing. The Pomodoro technique encourages focused bursts of work, making the task feel less overwhelming. Why it works. The Pomodoro technique helps you maintain focus while avoiding burnout. The structure provides both productivity and relaxation, making it easier to stick to your task. 3. Set smart goals. When it comes to getting things done, having a clear and actionable goal is crucial. Setting smart goals can make your objectives more precise and help you stay on track. Specific. Be clear about what you want to achieve. Measurable. Make sure you can track your progress. Achievable. Set goals that are realistic and within your control. Relevant. Ensure the goal aligns with your larger objectives. Time-bound. Set a deadline for achieving the goal. Example. Instead of setting a vague goal like, finish my homework, a smart goal would be, write 3 pages of my paper by 4 p.m. today. This goal is clear, measurable, and time-bound, which makes it easier to focus on and achieve. Why it works. Setting smart goals brings clarity and focus. By making your goals specific and measurable, you can monitor progress, stay motivated, and avoid procrastination. 4. Create accountability systems. One of the best ways to stop procrastinating is to create accountability systems. When you know that someone else is counting on you, you're less likely to delay or avoid tasks. Example. You could join a study group or tell a friend about your goal to finish a task by a certain time. You could also hire a coach or work with a mentor to ensure you're staying on track. Alternatively, public accountability works wonders. If you're working on a personal project, share your progress on social media or a blog. Knowing that others are watching can provide the push you need to keep going. Why it works. When you have someone to answer to, whether it's a friend, colleague, or even your audience, you're more likely to stay committed to your goals. Accountability creates a sense of responsibility, which discourages procrastination. 5. Eliminate distractions. Distractions are one of the biggest reasons people procrastinate. Whether it's social media, the TV, or even household chores, distractions pull us away from tasks that matter. To get things done, you need to create an environment that minimizes distractions. How you can eliminate distractions. 1. Turn off notifications. Whether it's on your phone or computer, notifications are one of the most effective ways to pull your attention away from the task at hand. 2. Use apps. Consider using productivity apps like Focus at Will or Freedom that block distracting websites. 3. Create a designated workspace. Have a specific place where you only work. This mental association will help you focus when you're in that environment. 4. Set clear boundaries. Let your friends and family know when you're working and need undisturbed time. Why it works. When you eliminate distractions, you create a controlled environment where your focus is directed towards the task. This makes it easier to get things done and decreases the chance of procrastination. 6. Use a reward system. Sometimes the motivation to start a task isn't enough on its own. Reward systems can give you that extra push by offering a treat or incentive once you complete a task or reach a milestone. Example: let's say you need to write a report. You can set up a reward system where you give yourself a small reward after completing certain tasks. For example, after finishing a section of the report, you might reward yourself with a 10-minute break to watch your favorite YouTube video. Or after finishing the entire task, you can go for a walk, enjoy a coffee, or treat yourself to something you like. Why it works. Rewards make the task more enjoyable. The anticipation of a treat or positive reinforcement creates a feeling of accomplishment and helps to reinforce the habit of getting things done. 7. Practice self-compassion and let go of perfectionism. Many people procrastinate because they're afraid of failing or making mistakes. Perfectionism is often rooted in a fear of failure, but it's important to understand that perfection isn't necessary to make progress. Example: think about a person who is working on a painting but keeps stopping to correct every small mistake. They're so focused on making it perfect that they never finish the artwork. In reality, their first draft might have been good enough, especially after a bit of revision. Solution: rather than aiming for perfection, focus on progress. Allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them. Set realistic expectations for yourself and realize that done is better than perfect. Why it works. Self-compassion helps to lower the fear of failure. When you let go of perfectionism and accept that mistakes are part of the process, you're more likely to take action and get things done. 8. Visualize the benefits of completing the task. A great way to overcome procrastination is to visualize the benefits of completing a task. When you imagine the positive outcomes, it can serve as a powerful motivator to get started. Example: let's say you're putting off exercise. Instead of thinking about how tired you might feel during your workout, focus on how good you'll feel afterward. Visualize yourself with more energy, a sense of accomplishment, and feeling healthier. Why it works. Visualization taps into your emotions and helps you connect with the positive outcomes of completing a task. Procrastination is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. By understanding the root causes of procrastination, shifting your mindset, and adopting practical strategies, you can break free from the cycle of delay and start making meaningful progress toward your goals. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use a little boost in overcoming procrastination. And hey, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more practical tips to level up your life.